Hey, what's up guys? We have this 2005 Yamaha TTR90 and this thing has been sitting for 5 years, so I'm gonna show you what I go through to get this thing running and the right way to handle a bike that has been sitting for a while. So the three things I like to go through are to do a compression test, check for spark, and do a carburetor clean. And one of the first things I do before kicking it over like crazy is I take off the boot, I loosen the spark plug here, and what you want to do is you want to put oil down the cylinder. I use this syringe with just the tube on the end because when the bike has been sitting for years, all the oil, there's no oil on the cylinder wall. So before you go cranking this thing like crazy or kicking it over like crazy, I just like to stick the syringe there, go in circles, get it all around the walls, and then you can kick this thing over. So I'll give it a couple light kicks to get that oil going everywhere, and then you can begin working on it. I think it'll cause damage if you don't put some oil down it. So if someone ever tells you their bike's been sitting for a while, I recommend doing this and putting some oil down it. Now we can throw on a compression test, see if this motor is capable of being started. So I'm gonna hook on the compression tester and we're gonna see what it's at now. So we got the compression tester all hooked up. We're gonna see if this motor is still good. So when you do this, you're gonna want to hold the throttle wide open and give it some crank. So let's see what we got here. We got great compression, and since we did put oil down the cylinder, it's gonna go up. It's gonna seal the rings better, but that's great compression for this Yamaha that's been sitting for 5 years. So now we know the motor's healthy, the piston is good, the rings are sealing really well. Next, we're gonna take this off, put the spark plug on, and check for spark. We're just gonna ground it to the head and see if we got good spark. So we got the spark plug hooked onto the coil pack, and you just wanna touch it on the head, and we'll give it a couple cranks and see if we got good spark. Oh yeah, we have very good spark. So last thing we need to make sure is this TTR is getting fuel. So last thing is we're gonna dig into this carburetor right here, make sure all the jets are clean, and this thing should fire right up. So getting to the carburetor is pretty easy. You just need to take off the seat, the gas tank, and we should have easy access to it. If we were gonna take off this carb, you can just undo both sides, then take off the slide, undo the choke, and this thing would come right out. But I think we can get to the jets just by dropping the bowl. Just 4 screws here, and I think we'll have access to the jets, so we're gonna try that first. That's still pretty good. Alright, so we got it off, and the jets are just 2 flatheads right here we're gonna take off. Alright, so you can see the gas has been sitting in there for a while. The main jet, you can still see through it, but it's still clogged. I still see some gunk in there. This pilot or idle jet is definitely clogged. And I also noticed that the float, I don't know if you can see there, is stuck. So the float needle right back there, it's not coming down. So I'm gonna pop this float off and you'll see that the needle's still stuck in there. Alright, so I got out the float and the float needle and the pin that holds the float. It's right here. The float came out, the float needle, and this pin that is holding it. So now we're gonna clean up the carb and we're gonna clean up these two jets. I'm gonna show you how I clean the idle one because that one's the hardest. So basically you just want some carb cleaner, and then I use this and I throw it right on the jet. It just fits perfectly on. Pinch it really tight, connect it to here, and hopefully this will clear out all the gunk that build up in it. So I'm gonna do that right now and show you guys, and we'll see if it clears up. Then I'm just gonna spray this clean, and I'll show you how I spray through the carb to make sure that's clean. Alright, so I'm gonna put this in there just like that. I'm gonna throw this on the carb cleaner, make sure it's on snug, and then pinch this really good. And you can see it's starting to come out. I just give it a couple pumps, make sure it's all clean. And then what I like to do to make sure it's really clean is you want to be able to see through it. So what I do is I blow through it. And once you clear out all the water, you should be able to see a tiny little hole through it. If you close one eye, then you know it's all clean. And then same thing with the main one, it's a much bigger hole, so it's easier to clean. With the bowl, it probably needs a new gasket, but I don't have one right now. We're just gonna spray out the bottom. Clean it up a little, and that's it. Now to clean the carb, I'm gonna stick this nozzle into every opening. So that's the main jet, the pilot jet, and the needle jet. So basically, you just wanna put it in there, make sure that passageway is clear. The idle jet and the needle jet. Alright, so we got all the parts cleaned. All these jets are cleaned. Got the bowl as clean as I could for now. We're gonna throw it back together and see if it starts now. Alright, we got the carb all back together. We put fresh gas in it and hopefully she fires up now. Let's see. Probably choke it. She's alive after 5 years of sitting. We'll get her all put back together. She should be good now. check the oil and new air filter, and